Hello everyone, this is Saurabh Maurya and most welcome all my YouTube channel Enjoy with Literature by Asam. In this lecture today I will discuss the most important topic of the linguistics, diglossia. Diglossia is a very important term in linguistics and especially it is taught in sociolinguistics. It is the most important topic of the sociolinguistics. So before going to start this video, I will suggest you that in my previous video I have discussed the two more important topics of the linguistics. In my first topic I have completed synchronic and diachronic linguistics and not the in Graham's law. Yeah. So if you haven't watched that video, go through that video. That video is very helpful for you all. Okay. So let's start the video. So when we come to discuss the diglossia, diglossia is a very important topic. Diglossia is a if we just discuss diglossia, actually this is pronounced as diglossia. Diglossia. Diglossia is a Greek word. The Greek word. At first, I have to know that what is diglossia. Diglossia is a situation in which two dialects or languages spoken or are used by a single language community. Means when we can define this definition by this word. Diglossia is a Greek word which means bilingualism. Bilingualism. So, what is bilingualism? By this name, we can see here that bilingualism means a person who has a knowledge of two languages or a person who is the speaker of two languages. Okay, so a person who has a knowledge of two languages, who has a language of two, who has knowledge of two languages, who knows to speak two languages, who is a speaker of two languages, that person is a bilingual speaker. Yeah. So diglossia is a Greek word which means bilingualism, and the definition of diglossia is that diglossia is a situation in which two dialects or languages are used by a single language community. So it was all about the diglossia. The term diglossia was coined by US linguist Charles Ferguson. The term diglossia was coined by US linguist Charles Ferguson, and he published diglossia. It was appeared in Charles Ferguson's book. His book name was also Diglossia, and in first time it was appeared in Word Journal in 1959. Okay. So the term diglossia was coined by Charles Ferguson in his book Diglossia. It got published in Word Journal in 1959. So when we come to define the diglossia, according to Charles Ferguson, diglossia is seen as a kind of according to Charles Ferguson, diglossia is seen as a kind of bilingualism in a society. So Charles Ferguson said that according to Charles Ferguson, diglossia is seen as a kind of bilingualism in a society in which one of the language has high prestige and another has low prestige. High prestige, according to Charles Ferguson, diglossia is seen as a kind of bilingualism in a society, and According to him, he uses Diglossia as a high prestige and low prestige. High prestige was it was coded as H, and low prestige was coded as L. So, according to Charles Ferguson, the definition of Ferguson's definitions, the high and low varieties are always closely related. According to Charles Ferguson, these high and low prestige are always closely related. Okay. Next, we come to there is a most important, or we can say there is a very famous quote by Charles Ferguson that was that, yeah, we can say Ferguson has taken an example, and he said that his very famous his very famous quotations was that very often educated Arabs will maintain they never use L, means low code, but in spite of in but in spite of they use constantly in our daily routines, or we can say, or in our daily conversation. So, according to Charles Ferguson, Charles Ferguson means totally he was a great sociolinguist also. He just gave the term of the Diglossia, and which was appeared in his book Diglossia and got issued in version in 1959. And he just given the he just gave the name Diglossia as a kind of language, as a kind of bilingualism in a society that has high prestige and low prestige. Okay, so next we come to the another most prominent sociolinguist, that was Joshua Fishman, who took the amendment in Ferguson's definition. Joshua Fishman, when we come to Joshua Fishman, if we talk about Joshua Fishman, he was an American linguist. He was especially known for the sociology of language. Sociology of language. When we come to Joshua Fishman, he was the most prominent in the 19th century, and he was the most known for the sociology of language, and probably, and we can say, he was most proficient in language planning and bilingual education. Most proficient in language planning and bilingual education. Joshua Fishman just expanded the definition of diglossia, and according to Joshua Fishman, in some situation, some society uses two different languages rather than two varieties of the same language into different domains. Here, Joshua Fishman just expanded the definition of Charles Ferguson, and he just gave his own he just conceptualized one more definition. For diglossia, that in some situation two society uses two different languages rather than two varieties of the same language in two different domains. And this amendment in this the definition of diglossia, it is known as broad diglossia. Broad diglossia. Okay, so the amendment in the definition of diglossia that was given by Joshua Fishman, it is known as the broad diglossia. So Joshua Fishman take the example here. He just take the example of a language, Alsok. I just take the example of Alsok language. Alsok language is used as the high and low, high prestige and low prestige both. Alsok, what is Alsok? Actually, it is a tribal. Alsok is a tribal. This is a tribal. This Alsok community or this Alsok tribal live in, between France and Germany. This Alsok tribe live in between France and Germany, and this tribe is known as Alsiotic tribe. He just take the example, Joshua Fishman just take the example for Alsok people who lived in Alsok, for Alsiotic people who lived in Alsok, who has both the high and low prestige. So according to Joshua Fishman, here H and L code, high code. What does this mean? H and L. What does this mean? High code and low code prestige. What is high prestige and low prestige? Actually, high prestige is used in a formal way. High prestige is used in a formal way. Low prestige is used in informal situation or informal way. In informal way. Okay. Children generally learn informal language. Informal way. Low prestige. This is this question I hope may ask. So know this. That children generally learn low prestige. Okay. There was another person, Hans Kloss. Where should I give his name? Hans Kloss. Hans Kloss just gave this high prestige as exodiglosia, and he called low prestige as endoglossia. Exo and endoglossia. Okay. There was a term that for high prestige endoglossia, formal way, exoglossia is also known as acrolect, and this is known as bacillect. Okay. So this was all about the diglossia. If a person who knows more than two languages, a person who is a speaker of more than two languages, we can call such a term triglossia. Must know this point, triglossia. Okay. So this was all towards me for this term diglossia. I hope this video will be very helpful for you all, and it will much help in your competitive exams and your examinations point of view. Okay. So if this video, if you like this video, then please do share and subscribe, and thank you for watching this video. Thank you so much.